Hello. Welcome to Port Misery, a GH podcast where we try to figure out why everybody in Port Charles was so miserable this week. It's Tara. So, this week was okay. Friday was really good. Monday was really good. Friday was really good. I have a whole episode about how like Monday and Fridays are usually really good episodes. But these were kind of like exceptionally good episodes, and Friday in particular. And so I was live tweeting the show on Friday, even though like I have a weird connect for like the East Coast viewing of GH, so I get to watch it at like 11 a.m. West Coast time because I live in LA. And so I'm like live tweeting the episode on Friday, yesterday. It's Saturday when I'm recording this. And I was live tweeting it and I was like, this is so good. Like, if Drew gets up out this chair and like walks out in the chaos, I will record an episode of Port Misery. Like that's how good the episode. I was like so into it. Unfortunately, he did not. He did not get up out the chair and walk into the chaos that was his living room. But I did say at the end, like, oh, I can maybe throw something together. And so Friday night, with a glass of wine, I randomly wrote down like 10 things on a sticky note on my computer that I could potentially talk about. Because I didn't want to go through the whole like here's everything that happened. Because some things don't deserve to be talked about, to be honest. But I I was slightly buzzed when I wrote this list, so I'm gonna read out the list. I have absolutely no notes. Like all I have is this sticky note. And so this is a chaos episode. Welcome. But we have first Disney moment on GH, Michael James Scott. I'm assuming this is the genie because the genie was singing on Monday, I think. It was a good moment. We'll talk about it. Then I wrote Jordan and Curtis suck. Like, Jordan and Curtis suck. That tracks. We got I don't care about Chaylin and this loose baby. That will be the topic after. Then we have Sunny is goofy. Dot dot dot. But so is Rick. So I'm guessing that's there's several reasons I could talk about that. We'll get to it. Next, we have the scene with Emma and Britt was insane. 100%. 100%. If you know, you know right now. And if you don't, you'll know in a few minutes. Then I have what are we doing with Willow? Just question. What are we doing there? What's going on there? Then I have Jocelyn the spy and Lucas the snitch, followed by Lulu, Cassius, Dante, and Liz star in We Need to Talk About Rocco. And then finally, did Brennan do DV, The Rise of Carval? And I'm guessing I was like, should I talk about the weird like shadow war happening on Twitter over whether or not this man did DV? We'll see. Since it's chaos, we'll see how much I get into it. But let's start with the first thing. Disney moment on GH. So this was funny. When I was on the timeline, people were like, I hate when they try to shove non-entities into the show. This is Disney. Like, ABC owns Disney. So this is Disney and like it was a Disney moment, and I think the Aladdin stage play has been on Broadway for like 20 years or something like that. He's played the genie the whole time, and they do this crap all the time. Like how many times has Wiley been, was it like Darth Vader for Halloween or some bullshit? They had like full young adults being like, I'm not gonna go to the club, I'm not gonna party, I'm gonna stay in and watch Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise. And like every child character on this show and random sex worker is playing the Tron video game. Disney's gonna Disney. Like it's gonna, if they're gonna use they want to use this soap to try and convince, moms and grandmas to try and convince their children and grandchildren to go on them with go on a Disney cruise with them, which is not going to happen anymore given the state of the world right now. We're not going to talk about it. We don't need to talk about it. But you know what I mean? Like Disney's going to use the soap as a way to promote other Disney shit. Like I'm not going to be surprised if like everyone's talking about how they can't wait to see the new Avengers film when we get to the end of the year. Like just everybody's like, can you believe they're doing like Chris Evans is coming back? He's coming back as Cap. Like, just because that Disney owns that shit too. Like, would like Mandalorian and Grogu come out this summer? Like, I'm not gonna be surprised if Wiley's like, please, Dad, I gotta see it because like they own it and they could say it for free and it's just free advertisement. And not but and the Michael James Scott gave a great performance. To be honest, like it was a really good performance. It was like he did a friend he did yeah, Friend Like Me, which is really smart because like he's a great singer, so you could have had him sing anything, but you have the rights to that song because once again, this is Disney, and this he's been in the show for years, and so yeah, it was I liked it. I was like, yeah, this is really good. It's a good moment because it's just filler, right? It's just what else are they gonna show us? They're gonna show more of like Jordan being broken up about her freaking face, and let's get into that. Let's talk about that. So like Jordan and Curtis suck. And here's why. This show isn't brave enough to just do anything. It's not brave enough to just like have drunk Brooklyn hit him straight on and keep driving because she got to see her son play guitar at a karaoke night. Like, that's what we would have done 25 years ago. Like, Brooklyn would have knowingly let that car blow up and been like, well, I'm not going to pass the breathalyzer test. I gotta go. And so, like, what the hell? And, like, while I do get Tracy being like, you're a rich white woman, yada yada yada. Like Drew and Willow are getting away with all the crimes. So like, girl, just turn yourself in. Your baby daddy is commissioner. I'm sure he'll get it. Like, and then Jordan and Curtis seem insane once more because everybody acknowledges that this is Jordan's fault and by extension Curtis's fault because they are so convinced that their love is more important than anyone and anything, including traffic laws, including traffic safety. Like, our love can survive anything, including a head on collision, which they didn't have, obviously. Like, they swerved into whoever's, like, lane. And, you know, we're all just obligated to assume that a non touching near miss accident resulted in you skidding off the road and, like, your car blowing up. Like, what are we talking about? Curtis just like, if they had just stopped, why should you say y'all were at fault? Y'all were at fault. The only reason to stop is to like pull over and cuss you out. And so because they didn't decide to do a road rage incident, now it's their fault they deserve to pay for Jordan's beautiful face? They sound insane. They sound insane. It's a ridiculous story. It doesn't endear anybody to them. I think there's like a couple people. I think I saw a couple people like crashing out, like they should have stopped. They didn't know that there was an accident until after the fact. Like everybody that's a suspect for this literally had to be told that they got into an accident. And like, okay, like they're acting like they watched the car blow up behind them. They didn't know it was an accident. And what's more, it was Jordan and Curtis's fault. Like, I would assume the other driver was like, these people suck, but I don't have time for this. I'm on my way home. I'm on my way to do something. I'm on my way to dinner. I'm just gonna thank the Lord that I didn't actually hit them. We got out the way in time. I have to go fix my paint job, which I could ask them to fix because it's their fault. But I'm just gonna be the bigger person and just gonna handle that myself. That's what they were thinking, and now it's like, no, you're actually culpable for this woman's beautiful face. It's stupid. It's stupid, and every time they bitch and moan about it, it sounds stupid. And like, I understand this idea of like anybody would be upset about their face being scarred. Of course, yes. And them being this upset about it is actually out of character for both of them. I mean, even when she like fucked her face up and she was like, oh my god, my face. Curtis's first response was, "Don't worry, we'll fix it." Not, "I'll love you regardless, you're still beautiful as ever." It was, "Don't even worry, we're gonna fix it." The writing for these two is batshit crazy. It's batshit crazy. And every time you try to fix it, you somehow make it worse. Like anytime they try to fix it and make Curtis look a little more understanding or humble, or just like a normal fucking functioning human being, they somehow make him even more insufferable. And now Jordan is insufferable because until you put her back with Curtis, she was actually fine. Like it was stupid that she wasn't getting anything done with Sidwell, but like she was fine. And now she's like out here having to like yell at Portia and be like, "You don't support me and Curtis. Why would she support you and her ex-husband?" That he essentially, for all intents and purposes, left her for. Because, like, there was no stopgap. Like, a lot of people like to focus on, like, how quickly Portia and Isaiah got together. Curtis left the Clanchin and moved into Jordan's house, but they weren't having an emotional affair this entire time. Like he didn't even get his own place. He didn't stay at a hotel. He didn't do none of that. They didn't have. They didn't stop at like he didn't stop at go. He didn't collect $200. He took his shit and moved straight to Jordan's house. But they weren't having an affair. So like every time they try to fix it, like to fix that little like, oh, so we unintentionally had them have an emotional affair this entire time, and now he lives with her, and so we'll just burn off half of her face so the audience will feel bad and be mad at Isaiah or Brooklyn or whoever did it. It's not working. It's not working. Everybody I've seen, except for a handful, like 2, 3 people who aren't covered by blocks, probably, are saying like they should have pulled over, they should have done this, that, and the third. Everyone else is like, this Jordan's fault. Like, if you mad at someone, girl, look in the mirror. And I know you don't want to because your face is all burnt up. It's very weird. And so, in summation, Jordan and Curtis suck. That's why I wrote that. Moving on. So I don't care about Chaylin and this loose baby. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't care about that. And I don't care about Michael's crusty plan to like not drug chase and not force him to do anything, to just put him in situations where he could choose to be a good husband or not. And more often than not, he does not choose to be a good husband. So we'll see what he does. And then he knows that Willow is an ancient bitch who doesn't respect anything, let alone marriage. So like he really just having them be in together and seeing what they do. And so if Chase cheats, he cheats. That's not Michael's fault. Like it's not Michael's fault. Like and this like what about the baby? I don't care about this baby because in this okay, how am I phrase this? Okay, so this is so and so in real life, this is an insane way to put things and to think about the world. But in a soap, in like fictional land storytelling, I don't think they earned this baby. Not that anyone has to earn a baby or do whatever. I'm just saying, like, there were so many ways to get them this baby that didn't involve them happening upon a dying pregnant woman in the park and just happening upon a baby. What they did nothing. It was like they went to Alexis once and was like, "We think we might want to adopt a baby," and then all this nonsense with Geo being Dante and Brooklyn's loose baby came out, and now she's like, "Well, I can't adopt a baby because my loose baby over here is gonna feel some type of way." But now the loose baby's like, "This is my mother and I love her," and so now they're back on like, "Let's adopt this baby." But Alexis is like, "So you put the kibosh on that." And so now you got to go back to the back of the line. And now they're like in the midst of talking about how much it sucks to have to go back to the back of the line. They just happen upon this dying pregnant woman, and now she's dead. And there's some mystery happening there, but they've locked it away until they're done doing whatever the hell they're doing with Spy Hospital currently. And so now we just have this loose baby, like the literal definition of a loose baby. Like with this loose baby from this made up pregnant woman that we don't know anything about. She's got a mystery tattoo. That's all we know about her. But like we got this loose baby and we're gonna give it to Chaylin because they happen upon the woman and they just happen to want a baby. right? If they lose the baby, I don't care. I don't care why they lost it. I don't care how they lose it. I don't care. I don't care if they keep it forever. I don't care about Shaylin and this loose baby. And that's kind of the problem. Because I should care about Shaylin. Maybe not about the loose baby, but there were ways of doing it. You could have had them, she was going to give the baby after she gave birth, she chose Chaylin as the parents and then died, or she was considering choosing Chaylin as the parents, and we'd seen her a few episodes and she was just about to pick them, and then all of a sudden she's dying, and Chaylin are with her, and maybe she has some vocal, like verbal, like, yeah, I want you to have my daughter, and then two flat lines, right? But like verbal shit doesn't matter. You needed to have paperwork, and they're not in the front of the line, all the things. But instead it's just like you just happen upon this baby, and now I'm supposed to care that Michael wants to fuck it up when Chase is out here bringing Willow flowers. I don't i don't I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I only thing I can hope for, the best I can hope for when it comes to Shaylin, is that they lose the loose baby because Chase is a dummy with Willow, and not because Brooklyn didn't run Jordan off the road, right? Like, that's all I can hope for. Because they lose it because she didn't do anything to Jurdis. They're just incapable of taking responsibility for any of the bullshit that they do. Like, will not take responsibility for their emotional affair, will not take responsibility for almost getting into a two-car wreck, just constantly trying to pawn it off onto someone else because that's their whole fucking personality. I'm gonna hate that for Brooklyn because this is one of the few times on the show where she legitimately didn't do anything. Like, you can show that crusty glass of wine. Like, you're acting like her having one glass of wine is the same as her doing like Jaeger bombs in the kitchen before she got behind the wheel. Like, it's not the same thing. She's not even on like Monica and drunk Alexis levels of alcoholism here. She literally had like 3/4 of a glass of wine before getting behind the wheel, and you're acting like she was downing a bottle of Popov, like the plastic bottle vodka that a real alcoholic drinks, and getting behind the wheel. Like, we're not gonna do this just so you could give Curtis and Jordan cap and cover for what? For what? Like, this is a lot easier to do with Portia than it is with any other character, by the way, when it comes to those two. You see how I'm back on Jordan and Curtis suck? That's because I don't care about Chaylin and this loose fucking baby. And I'm done. And so let's go on to Sunny is goofy, but so is Rick. I'm very confused by this because you had like Rick coming in, like, can't trust Ethan. And then Ethan came in, like, well, actually, maybe we can't trust Rick because I saw him having lunch with Ava. And now Sunny is all like in deep in these untethered, chaotic thoughts about like intrusive fucking thoughts about Rick. Like, he's just manufacturing whole scenarios where Rick is now working with Ava and Sidwell. And He's, he's working with them and he's betraying me. We had this egregious moment where Sunny, the writer said Sunny say like, this is the best we've gotten along even since we were kids. They didn't know each other when they were kids. Like, Sunny threw pregnant Lily down, or not Lily, fuck Lily, pregnant Adela down the stairs and was like, fuck this baby and its dad. And then the crazy father, stupid Trevor Lansing, was like, choose between me and your 3-year-old. And obviously, Adela was like, yeah, I'm going to choose my 3-year-old. And he's like, well, I'm a powerful attorney and I'm taking this baby. And she was like, yeah, I have this baby. I got to go. I'm going to go back to the husband that beats me. Adela was so goofy. I swear Sonny gets it. But they didn't grow up together. They met as adults. Like, legitimately met as adults. And so him saying that was fucking insane. But like, Sonny's just constructing this like, Rick is clearly out to get me side plot. And because Sonny has got main character syndrome, right? He's like, obviously I must be the center of all plots, and usually he is, and he kind of is for this one, but he is very subtle. And so he's like, let me insert myself in this weird way. And he's going to all these people. He's going to Alexis, he's talking to Ethan, and both of them are kind of like, I don't know, man. Is it beneath or above Rick? No, it's right. It's exactly what Rick would do. But also, I don't know if he's doing it. Like, Alexis, like, he seems pretty sincere and, like, wanting to have a relationship with you. And Ethan's like, listen, I said I saw them together, but I don't necessarily know what they were doing. I just said I saw them together. And Sonny's like, nah, nah, nah. Clearly, he's betraying me. And so he shows up. We still don't know what Rick and Ava are doing. I have a feeling it's some art thing for Elizabeth because Elizabeth likes art and Ava does art stuff. And like, I feel like that's what's going to be. And I feel like this is like the wind up for when Steve comes back. And because, Jason's not going to want to work with Rick. Jason's never going to forget the fucking panic room. And so Jason don't trust Rick. And so I'm guessing when Rick inevitably betrays Sason, he's going to harken back to this moment because Sonny shows up to the gallery and just points a gun at Rick and was like, "You're betraying me, bitch." And Rick looked genuinely so. He was like, "What?" Ava was like, I don't know what y'all got going on. Could you do it someplace else?" Sonny was like, "Nah." And then Ava was like, "Okay, well then I'm gonna go." He was like, "Nah." And Ethan came in, like, clicked up with him, like, "Yeah, you gonna stay right here, girl." Like, Ava was like, "Who are you?" Like, what's this? What's going on? And then Sonny pull a gun out, and everybody's confused. And like I said, Rick ain't betraying Sonny, so Sonny is goofy. This is a goofy moment for Rick, for Sonny, but it's also a goofy moment for Rick because why you think you could do anything with Ava and Sonny not gonna find out, not gonna immediately be sus on that, especially when she is out here dating a pimp called Sidwell. Like, what? Rick, why are you doing these moves? Like, you gotta tell Sonny that you need to go. I gotta go talk to Ava because I want to do some art stuff for Elizabeth. Ava knows the art people, so I need to talk to Ava. I just need you to know that because I know that she dates a pimp called Sidwell, and you nervous about that. That's all you need to do. And so Sonny is goofy. Sonny is goofy because Rick is. There's 99.9% chance that Rick is not betraying him. There is always that chance, like everybody said, but 99.9% chance that he's not betraying him. So Sonny is being goofy. But like I said, so is Rick because like this was literally a text. Like, "Hey, bruh, I gotta talk to Ava about some art shit. Don't be weird about that. All right? It's still fuck this bitch for me, just like it is for you. Okay? I can't tell you why it's fuck that bitch for me, but just trust me, I fucking hate this bitch." And maybe Sonny be like, "Okay," but instead he heard it from outside sources. He heard it from Ethan after you were out here trying to turn him against his OG bestie's son. And so that made you look guilty. And so you're goofy too, Rick. The brothers are goofy this week. The brothers are goofy. Moving on. Let's go to the scene with Emma and Britt and why it's insane. So I get what they were going for. And I agree that there are certain things, like, don't get me wrong, there are certain things, there are certain characters who could be forever, and that's fine. Like, you don't have to reconcile every character. And I kind of think that Emma and Britt, you could have kept them beefing, and it wouldn't have really, like, people would have understood why Emma has this beef, like this childhood beef. Like, girl, you were out here trying to ruin my childhood. You can go straight to hell. But like other characters, I can see why you want them to maybe mend fences. Like, okay, Carly and Britt were kind of in a better place before she died that one time. And now they're all hostile to each other and it's kind of silly. And so I would have appreciated them softening towards each other rather than Emma and Britt. But I'll accept Emma and Britt doing it if you did it in any different way than this. When I tell you, her letting this woman give her a fucking pelvic exam is insane. That's crazy. This your op. They had her give it, let her throw an attitude at her the whole time until even after she gave her the exam. Like, even after, she was still like, fuck you, bitch. And then all of a sudden, she's like, ooh, my head hurts. And Britt's like, why your head hurt? What's going on there? And she was like, it's my birth control. And Britt's like, you should get different birth control. And now Emma's like, oh my God, you're the greatest gynecologist that's ever lived. Be my gynecologist. What are we doing? What are we doing? There were better ways to do this. I would have preferred if, like, Emma had a flat tire and Britt helped her with that shit. Like, and they just were stuck on the side of the road. Jordan's not keep, endangering people. They're just stuck on the side of the road and they're able to really talk shit out. And, Britt helps her change the tire. So, not that Britt would know how to change a fucking tire, but maybe she does. And, like, they get to talk it out and they come to some understanding with that. They talk about the whole, like, her breaking into that fucking lab, getting Rocco in trouble, all that stuff. Like, there were so many ways that didn't involve speculums. That's all I'm saying. Like, didn't involve this girl having to be swabbing her fucking uterus. And then, like, I was supposed to trust her. Like, Britt literally tricked her dad into thinking that she was having Dante, that he was the father of Dante and Lulu's baby. So, like, why would she trust her with this type of information anyway? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I throw that for Portia as well. But at least Portia has the, like, deniability of, I wasn't a character on this show when that happened. Like, I wasn't here for that. And so, like, I heard the legend of it, but, maybe it wasn't that bad. Emma specifically knows how bad it was. She was in town, was in the storyline for that. And so it was just a very insane storyline. Just like, women are just not gonna be like, there was this weird throwaway line where cause like Britt was like, we gotta give the public exam now. And Emma was like, nah, actually I'm good. And Britt was like, well, if you don't do this public exam, Miss Girl, you don't have to wait till August. Bitch, I'll take the November appointment. What are you talking about? They got a 2027 appointment. If I gotta wait until January 2027, I'll explain to the new one, I'm not gonna let this bitch touch me. That's actually wild to me. And so that scene was insane. It very much gave men wrote that. It gave men wrote that because why would you even have this scene? This is ridiculous. What a ridiculous scene. Y'all are crazy. Moving on, let's see. What are we doing with Willow? This will be real short because it's a question. What are we doing with Willow? Like, she can't even, they have no idea what they're doing. They have changed the story so many times, changed Willow's motivation, changed what she want to do, changed why she did it, changed the plan for it. And now Willow talking about, like, I don't want Drew to be this way. I wouldn't want anyone to be this way. Girl, you have shot this man. You pumped him full of drugs. You lecture. Y'all have had Willow monologue in his fucking face about why he is where he is and why he deserves to be where he is. Now you got her saying, I would never want to see anyone in this situation. Y'all have no idea what you're doing here. You have no idea what you're doing here. You just want to have anything, something for people to grab on with Willow. And it's like, no, we don't like this hoe. I'm not saying kill her. I'm not saying kick her off the show. I'm saying tell the damn story. Move on. Stop trying to move the audience in the position you would like them to be in. We're not going to do that for you. We're not doing it. Like, people gonna watch this show the way they watch it. And if you tell a good story, people will go with the story. And there's very few things on a soap that a character can do that will immediately have the audience being like, I need this person to leave my television screen and I would like to never see them again. It's very rare. It's a few times that I've been watching the show and interacting online with fandom and I saw the, like, call for a character to be disappeared. Like, I want them gone. I don't ever see them again. Last big one is probably not even Jagger, because there were people who were really fucking with Jagger. Like, I was not, but, like, some people were, like, still out here, like, justice for Jagger. It's probably Peter August. People did not like Peter August. Like, it was just, it was very vocal. It was very unanimous. People didn't like it. They didn't like the character. That was also a character that suffered a lot from rewrites and trying to rejig and like, well, you will give you context, and now you didn't realize that this was not that I didn't realize that I didn't care. Did not care, did not like the character. The storylines he was in were ass. Like, all of it was bad. And I don't even blame Wes for that, because I have been watching Wes over on Days of Our Lives, and I'm like, give Wes an Emmy. This was the role he was born to play. I love him as that character. Ooh, as Owen DeMonte Kent. If you have not been watching Days of Our Lives, watching Wes over there playing Owen DeMonte Kent, you missing out. You missing out. It was glorious. I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back. And so it's not even Wes. It was Peter August. That character was ass. Right? Willow's not there. Willow's not on Peter August status. But like, the more y'all flip flop and go back and forth, like, she was the worst part of Friday's, of like what led to Friday's episode. Like, this whole like, oh, I gotta give Drew this shot, but I got a phone call, so I can't give a shot during the phone call, and I can't do all this, and yada yada yada. You don't need your mama to be doing this. You could have been on the phone with your shoulder holding the phone to your ear, inserting that needle, putting that shit in that man. You don't need your mom to do this. You didn't need to do any of that. It was just so you can try and humanize this behavior that she's doing. But not even so, because you still got Nina freaking out, so we can have this weird. We're going to get to it. That's the question, though. What are we doing with Willow? What are we doing with Willow? Because I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. Like, I need her to go to jail, or to go to Shady Brook, or to do anything. I'm sick of seeing her as a congressperson trying to pretend like she's a serious person in life. No. Stop it. Please. And so let's move on. Let's go to Jocelyn the spy and Lucas the snitch. So all the stuff that's happening in the Carval section of Spy Hospital is Jocelyn's fault. It's Jocelyn and Lucas's fault. More Jocelyn's fault, but Lucas is definitely a conduit to Jocelyn being stupid. So Jocelyn decided to go tell stupid Brandon that her mama is cheating on him, after Lucas told Jocelyn that her mama is cheating on him. Now, this is my thing. Obviously, they were right, but why would Jocelyn just assume that, like, Carly is being honest with Lucas? Like, why wouldn't she assume that Lucas saw something in the house, and so Carly was forced to be like, oh, nah, 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 nah. I'm cheating on Brennan, just as like a cover for Valentine. Like, the fact that she took it so literal and then immediately snitched, I still don't understand the snitch. I am yet to understand why she snitched on her mom like that. And I don't know it for a spy perspective. I don't know it for a daughter perspective. I don't know it for a friend perspective. It's just like weird fucking behavior. It's weird behavior. But at the same time that Jocelyn is snitching on Carly, Britt is snitching on Joss. And Britt tells Cassius Clay Faison that Joss is WSB. But don't do nothing to her, just leave her be. Girl, girl, what the hell? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you tell that man that? This why anytime I'm with Britt, cause like people were mad at Britt on the timeline for putting hands on Rocco, and I'm like, Rocco was acting stupid. Rocco was letting intrusive thoughts win, and she needed to put his ass in a headlock. And so I'm not even mad at her for that, because what the hell was he doing? But when she went and told Cassius Clay Faison that Jocelyn was WSB, after Jason's been doing all this stuff to keep Jocelyn safe and literally just went to jail to keep Rocco safe, girl, I slapped the shit out of you. Why? Why? This is stupid. You making dumb moves, girl. I don't like it. But Cassius Clay Faison immediately went to Joss's house and put her ass in a headlock. Like, literally put her in a chokehold. And now she's staying in the Anna Duvane Memorial Dungeon at Windermere. And so Joss is in the dungeon. Cash Clay Faison comes downstairs with a sandwich, an apple, and some blue lemonade. And it's like, hey girl, I'm Nathan's evil twin. Take this sandwich. Jocelyn's like, what? Are you gonna kill me? He's like, nope. I just wanted you to know that. Why? Why'd you need her to know that? The fuck? He's just like, chill here, girl. It's fine. I'm gonna bring you sandwiches and fruit and blue lemonade. Everything's gonna be good. I just need you to chill here until everything blows over. He is really like, that's his time frame. Like, Cash Clay Faison lives by the time of changing winds and waiting for things to blow over. Bruh, this is why Lulu not fucking with you. Because what are you talking about? Like, here's my life story, but trust me, I'm a good dude. I had to lock you in this dungeon. What? I will say, Cassius Clay got fucked up by Jocelyn. Like, I made it seem like he really just knocked down her door, put her in a headlock, and threw her in the dungeon. No, she beat his ass. Like, she beat his ass. All right. She wrote Jocelyn Jax was here across that man's forehead. Like, like she didn't win, but she wrote Jocelyn Jax was here. People knew she was there. And so. Jocelyn's in, like I said, the Anna Duvain Memorial Dungeon underneath Windermere, and Lucas the snitches at lunch with Felicia and Carly, because Felicia parents Bobby's kids more than she parents her own, and so Lucas went to see Felicia, and he had this one comment where he was all like, "We know how Carly and her taste in men. What about your taste in men, Lucas? You literally went from Brad to Marco." And the only reason why Marco literally switched up for 10 minutes and got killed. Like your claim to fame is that you were able to turn one man back to the side of light, but then he immediately got himself murdered. So but Felicia was like, let me rub your back in a circle. And Carly shows up like, hey, me and Brennan broke up. Everybody was like, yay, because Felicia ain't never fucked with Brennan. Felicia been told Brennan to get the fuck out of her Carly's face. Like, bro, I know about you. I see you. And Brennan was like, no, me and Carly's love is true. We'll get to it. But Felicia hears that Carly and Brendan broke up. She was like, yes, babe. Love that for you, babes. Like, I know what it's like to be dating a man who ain't shit and works for the WSB. So proud of you, queen. And she leaves Carly and Lucas to talk. Carly's immediately like, who'd you tell about me cheating on Brendan? Lucas is like, what do you mean? I don't know. I would not tell anyone. I definitely wouldn't tell Brendan. He was so Carly's like, how did Jocelyn find out? How'd she find out? And we didn't really get conclusion to that. Lucas really tried to be like, well, but Lucas is a snitch. Lucas is a snitch. And so is Jocelyn. We cannot trust these two. Like Carly, we cannot trust them. They are not, they have protection of Mob Hospital. They're not in Mob Hospital. They're Mob Hospital adjacent. Right. And so they got the protection of Mob Hospital, but y'all not in Mob Hospital. So we got to stop trusting them. We got to stop giving them secrets because they cannot be trusted. They're snitches. And so nothing much to say about that. Moving on. And so let's go to Lulu, Cassius, Dante, and Liz starting We Need to Talk About Rocco. This gets so messy. This gets so messy. Cassius Clay Faison is really crashing out. Like I said, he lives and dies by the change of the winds. And he's like, we gotta send Rocco away. Lulu is like, why? Why I gotta send my son away? And Cassius is rightfully like, because he shot a WSB agent and that fool's gonna want to get revenge. He gonna want to do something. Lulu's like, does he know about it? He was like, he knows that Jason didn't shoot him. So, and your son is weak and he keeps telling people and he keeps giving into intrusive thoughts. And Lulu is kind of being a dumb bitch, but like, that's her son. And she doesn't know. And it's really important to like remember that Lulu does not know that that's Cassius Clay who's in the middle of all the shenanigans, right? Like he is team shenanigans over in Windermere. But she thinks she's talking to Nathan West. And so he's not really giving her any real like this is definitely happening right now. I know this man. It's just like a bunch of hypotheticals. Like you need to send your kid to baseball camp. You need to send him to Ireland. You need to send. Where is she gonna send this kid where he's not in danger from the WSB? These are spies. And so even his plan of like send Rocco away doesn't make any sense because like where can she send him that he couldn't be found? And so he essentially calls her a stupid bitch. She's like, why are you calling me a stupid bitch? Why I gotta be all that? He's like, I didn't call you a stupid bitch. I said you acting like a stupid bitch, which was surprising because I know that you're not one. So the behavior is shocking to me. She's like, we're done. And effectively breaks up with Cassius Clay phase on. Now, like, once more, she doesn't know this is Cassius, but like she dumps him. He looking at her through the window like a stalker. I don't really know what's about to happen there. I assume that Ryan Pavey is not long for the show because like Cassius is kind of crashing out, and it seems like they do some weird shit where he dies saving Rocco so Lulu can know their love was real. Fuck it, whatever. Let's go over to Dante and Liz. So Dante calls Liz and he asked Liz to like analyze the blood on the gun because Jason let himself get that slide bite so it could look like he did it. But everybody knows that Jason is like a superhero and there ain't no way that he would get a slide bite. Like that's fucking crazy. I remember when it happened and I was like, damn, they were even smart enough to have Rocco be so inexperienced that he would get that type of injury because Jason definitely wouldn't. And so, it's the first thing that Dante picks up on that like Jason wouldn't get this type of injury. This is stupid. And so Liz has to be like, so I think it was Rocco because I treated his hand that night and he definitely had a slide bite. And Dante is real shook by this. He's like, what? Nah. Like Lulu said he cut his hand, and like Liz just kind of lays it out. Like it's very clear that Lulu knew what was up. It's very clear that Britt knew what was up, and it's very clear that Jason knew what was up because the list of people he would do that for isn't that long. To be honest, I feel like he would do it for every character on the show except for a handful. Like he's not going to jail for Rick. He's not going to jail for Ava. He's not going to jail for Nina. Like, may all the cast irons go straight to hell. But there are a lot of characters he would do it for. But, for the storyline, he wouldn't do it for that many people. But Rocco's on the list. And so Dante is shook. He's fucking pissed at Lulu. There's a scene from Monday's episode where he like kicks in the door of her house, like, shut up, bitch. Tell me when you gonna tell me our son was out here shooting people. But it's very clear that he about to have it out with Lulu. Um he loves Jason. That's his brother. It's his brother husband with Sam McCall's ghost out here taking the fall for his son. Magical. He was just like, Jason, like, what a man. What a hero. The man, the legend. That's why we ain't never changed the Jason Morgan Memorial Interrogation Room name. It's just gonna stay that forever. Don't care how many times he dies and comes back to life. That's his interrogation room. Because he's out here doing magical things with it. And so Dante is now team. We gotta get Jason out of jail. Which the more people who are intent on getting Jason out of jail, like that'll indicate how soon Steve's gonna return. Cause we got a few people trying to get him out of jail right now. We got like Mob Hospital trying to get him out, but like not even really actively trying to get him out. Like Rick Sonny's replacing him. Sonny's like, listen, he's busy in jail, so I need a new temporary Jason. I'm probably gonna hire a few tempt Jasons to pick up the slack because Jason is like 10 men. And so Carly's really the only person trying to get him out of jail, but then not really because she out here banging Valentine trying to save Jocelyn. Trying to do the get back at Brennan. So, like, literally, no one's trying to get him out of jail. And now we got people trying to get him out of jail. Dante is now the president and CEO of the Let's Get Jason Morgan Out of Jail Action Committee. And so the timer's on for him to come back. But that was really good. I liked the episode. I like the portion of it. I mean, because I'm still going to talk about Carbell. I like the portion of the episode that had to do with like Rocco, essentially, and people being like, what are we going to do about Rocco? Because he out here shooting people. And once more, I'm just going to point out none of this was happening on Sam McCall's watch. Like, Sam McCall kept a tight ship. And nobody, like, the only thing that was happening was Danny was out here hitting his vape, and we had to, stomp that out. We had to curb that real quick. Like, nope, can't have be doing that. But nobody was breaking into labs. Nobody was doing a stint in juvie. We weren't shooting people on the docks. We weren't doing any of these things. We weren't getting alcohol poisoning. None of these things were happening. And so, just gonna point out that little quirk. Apparently, trad wife Sam was really doing the work raising these children, and now they're just roaming the town free. And so, moving on to the final story and the final controversy. So, did Brennan do DV? So this was this is like a controversial thing on the timeline. I made a statement about it. I'll put it here. Um and I was pretty much like, we all see this show very differently. And so there are certain things that I get triggered by that I know that other people probably don't get triggered by. And it doesn't mean that like I'm right and you're wrong, or that you're, because you weren't triggered, then I should watch the show. I should be like less sensitive. It just means that we watch the show differently. And so, did Brennan do DV? That's a very complicated question. I think if you saw that, if that's how you felt, that you were legitimate in feeling that way. That's a valid feeling. Um, I think one of the big issues is, and one of the questions for the people who don't think it was DV, my question I would ask is, what do you consider domestic violence? That's the main thing. Because I feel like some people, it might not be you, but some people go to the extreme, like when people say that things aren't racist. Like, I am an African American historian, and so I am a lot more sensitive to those types of things than your average bear. And so, things that I'm like, that's racism, a regular person who doesn't work in this all the time, all day, every day, will probably not feel that way. They wouldn't see it. And it doesn't make them wrong. It just means that they view the show through a completely different lens than I view it through. And their lens isn't showing them that racism, right? They're not seeing it. It doesn't mean that it's not there. It's just not affecting you, and it's not hindering your ability to watch the show. And so I think that that would be my thing, is that it doesn't always have to be the most extreme version of what you're thinking about to trigger people. And so with, domestic violence, a lot of people, when they hear domestic violence, when they think domestic violence, they think of like physical attacks, right? Like a woman cowering in a corner and a man standing over her with closed fists, right? They think the story that happened between Sonny's mom Adela and his stepfather Deke, this like very violent, very visceral type of domestic violence, but that's not always what that is. It's a lot to do with power dynamics. And yes, Carly, in a sense, is in a very powerful position in Port Charles. She is the ex wife of very powerful men. She has the protection of very powerful men, including her own son. Like, she's the owner of a hotel, she's the owner of several businesses, she's financially secure. Um, it would seem that she's on this sort of like a way better playing field than most women. But then you also have to think about the situation. So, like, he's a highly trained spy. He broke into her house. That is a big thing, right? Like, he broke into her house. It's not even like we're implying this or inferring this. Like, we watched him pick the lock in the back door, go through the house, run through her house, be in her house. And then he sees her in bed. Valentine's not there. She's obviously been with someone. There's clothes everywhere. She's not dressed. He throws a robe at her and tells her, get dressed. He says a bunch of like inappropriate things. He's heated. And so I'm not going to be this like unfair person and say like, well, he's calmly and rationally telling her what a filthy whore she is. Like, he's obviously upset. Apparently, according to interviews I've read, he was also not sober. And so he's saying things at her. He gets her cornered. And he's pretty much and this is what he says to her, right? He says, like, so you thought you could do this to me and there wouldn't be consequences. What are the consequences? Is the question, right? And you have to remember, he doesn't know it's Valentine at this point. He doesn't know where this man is, who this man is. He's just alone in the room with Carly. And for all intents and purposes, he is more capable in terms of like defense and like fighting than the person that he would potentially have to go up against, including Carly. And so he's cowering over her, and she's obviously being fucking defiant as Carly, but he is cowering over her, essentially telling her, like, what did you think was going to happen when you did this to a man like me? And he asks her who it was. She tells him to turn around, and it's Valentine holding a gun. Only when he turns around does he calm the fuck down and sort of like, okay, like when he knows that he's no longer in the position of power, he's no longer in the position of dominance, does he stop cowering over this woman? Does he calm the fuck down? And does he actually start wanting to have an actual conversation? Now, for a lot of people, that's probably not domestic violence. And for some people, that's textbook domestic violence. That's the insidious kind of domestic violence, the kind that is polite and quiet enough for people to ignore, the kind that just continues day in, day out, that sort of domineering, that like reminder that I am the dominant one in this relationship, that you answer to me, that there will be consequences to you making me unhappy. Is that what the writers intended? Probably not. Probably not. And I think that with a character like Carly, they probably have an idea that like we could do things and say things that we potentially couldn't with another character. But this is the same conversation that was being had about Willow and Drew a year ago. That the way he talks to her, that the way he dominates her life, the way that he will not let her have an opinion that he doesn't sign off on, the ways in which, like, maybe not her, like, physically, but her life, professionally and personally, suffers consequences when he's not happy, that, like, people try to explain that that is abuse, that's abuse. And now that's the story being told. And you have people saying, like, I didn't see that it was abuse. Now she's the abuser. And they kind of did that in that story. They just switched it. Instead of him abusing her, they've made it so she's abusing him. And it's still domestic violence. It's just transferred from the man to the woman. Now she's in the position of power. Now she gets to dominate over him. And she essentially gets to abuse him. It's still an abusive dynamic. And so, did Brennan do DV? I think it depends on who you ask. And I think it depends on how you watch the story and whose lens do you see this story through. If you're not a Carly fan, you probably didn't see domestic violence. You saw a woman who can hold her own, who has put herself in this situation, and who has been in this situation before. If you are a Carly fan, you probably saw some element of domestic violence. Is it that, really violent, gross kind where she's being choked? No. But you saw the sort of danger that she's in being with this man who has these skills and this type of power over her. This power that she can't really account for it. I mean, she can maybe call Sonny and say, like, hey, this guy is threatening me, and he can get some guards on her. But, that still would be her answering to a level of domestic violence where she doesn't feel safe being around this man. And so that's kind of my long-winded academic-y way of saying it, that like there are degrees to DV. It's not one thing and one thing only. Same with like racism. Like a lot of people tend to think that you have to be like a card carrying Klan member to be racist. And when you try to explain things like microaggressions and like levels of privilege and assumptions being made, they get very like, I don't think that's racism. You know, and I'm like, well, let me educate you. Like, let me give you a free $10,000 education. And you kind of have to decide which battles are worth fighting. I would say, like, is it worth 2 3 hours, maybe 2 3 days of your life back and forth with people who are never gonna stop being willfully obtuse about this? Or are you just like, my personal peace is worth more than being right? Like, I think that would be my question. And it's something I struggle with all the time. So, whichever decision you make, like, got more power to you. Like, no judgment here. Like I say, I am always trying to choose my personal peace, and I lose that battle like 7 out of 10 times. But all of that to say is that we get to Carval. So Brandon and Carly are done, but Carly's trying to get a hold of Jocelyn, can't get a hold of her. And they start to panic, more intrusive thoughts. It's just like the episode of Intrusive, or the week of intrusive fucking thoughts. But they assume nobody knows about Cassius Clay Faison except for the people who know. And so nobody would suspect anything between Jocelyn and Nathan. And so Valentine essentially assumes that Brennan sent Jocelyn away, that she is in the WSB and he's in his power to do so. So, like, what happened to freaking Dollar Tree Dex happened to Jocelyn. And so Carly's freaking out. She went to see Trina, see if Trina knew about Jocelyn. Trina's like, yeah, I don't know. She said she was studying. I don't know. Goes to talk to Lucas, but Valentine, feels guilty. He's on this my girl. I got my girl's daughter kidnapped. I love my daughter the way she loves her daughter, and if someone took my daughter, I know I'd be going crazy. I gotta fix it. And so he calls Nina. Carly's like, pause. Pause, because I don't trust that bitch. I don't like that bitch, and I don't want to put my daughter's life in that bitch's hands. Valentine's like, we ain't got a choice, girl. We do not have a choice. I'm just gonna need you to trust me. Gets the gun, leaves. Nina's over at freaking Drew and Willow's ratchet ass house. I swear to God, they live in the ghetto. That house is so ratchet. All the crimes being committed at that house. Like, just for a year. For a full fucking year, nothing but crimes being committed. It's so wild. But Nina calls Brennan over. She's supposed to be giving Drew this stupid shot, and she's like monologuing at him, like, I don't want to do it, but I gotta do it. I gotta protect my daughter. I can't do it. Oh my God. And like right before she's gonna do it, Brennan shows up. And so she doesn't just give him the shot. Like, just give it to him. What's the fucking problem? But she takes the shot with her and then hides it under a truck. And then like Brennan comes over, but she doesn't have anything to say to him. Valentine just said, invite that fool over. And so she's like trying to like make small talk with him. He's like, bitch, you got something to say or not? And all of a sudden she's like, get out of town, leave now. And he's like, huh? And before he has a chance to like leave, she's trying to like push him out the door. Valentine shows up with a gun. He's like, wow, Nina, literally was just told by someone that I can't trust you because you a raggedy bitch. I guess I should have listened. Nina's like, bruh, I didn't know you were gonna show up with a gun. Like, why you got a gun in my daughter's house? Like, because your daughter's house is the ghetto. That's why. This is a ratchet house. And so Valentine tells Brennan to give him his gun. He gives the gun. He's like, where's Jocelyn at? And why are you being a punk bitch to send her away? because he didn't send her away. Remember, Cassius Clay Faison, excuse me, Cassius Clay Faison is the one who has Jocelyn. So this is the first he's hearing of this. He's like, yo, I didn't do that. And so if she's missing, then you need my help to find her. Valentine's like, I don't need you for shit, bruh. Either you took her or you didn't, which means I don't need anything from you. And before he has a chance to like shoot him, like Brennan rushes him. So now they're fighting over these guns. And Nina's just standing there like, no, no, my God, no. And she goes to stab Valentine with the needle because she needs Brennan to help Willow. But Valentine does a little twirl twirl and she ends up catching Brennan. And so Brennan got a Drew Kane special, and now he's out for the count. And so Nina, what you about to do? Like, what are you about to do? Because you essentially just told Brennan what y'all are doing to Drew. Because unless you about to put him in the room next to Drew, unless you gonna ask Alexis if you gonna borrow her fucking storm cellar, or take him over to the Anna Duvain Memorial Dungeon under Windermere, what you about to do with this? And then Valentine's 1000% gonna be asking questions. Like, girl, what's this? What the fuck is this? Like, I think in the preview, he was asking her, like, what was that? What's that? Girl, why were you ready with that? You had that in the chamber. And so I have a feeling, just to sum up everything that we talked about. So let's recap it. We've talked about the Disney moment on GH with Michael James Scott. We talked about how much Jordan and Curtis suck. We talked about how I don't care about Chaylin or this loose baby. We talked about Sunny is goofy, but also so is Rick. We talked about how the scene with Emma and Britt was insane because it was like, girl, you cannot look at my vagina when we are ops. Get out of here. We talked about what we're doing with Willow and why are we doing it and when are we finishing it. Like, come on now, be so serious. Jocelyn the spy and Lucas the snitch was brought up. Lulu, Cassius, Dante, and Liz star and we need to talk about Rocco. And now, did Brennan do DV The Rise of Carvel? Where are we going from here? I feel like the Cassius Clay Faison storyline is wrapping up because he's kind of crashing out. Spy Hospital in general seems like it's wrapping up. This Willow story got to be coming to an end because, like I said, I really thought that Drew, because the entire time that like Brennan and Valentine are tussling, Drew's in the room blinking. He's blinking, blink, 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 blink. And I was like, if he get up out this chair and walk into this chaos, I'm gonna lose it. And it would have been funny if he got out the chair and then she had to stab him, and that's how he ended up back on the floor. And then she had to explain to both of them, but whatever, we don't get nice things. But I feel like now that Brennan got stabbed with it, she got some explaining to do, which expands the number of people who know that Drew shouldn't be in that wheelchair. Uh, this is out of control. This is out of control. So we have for next week, select Jordan Curtis. Who cares about them? Don't care about Chaylin and that loose baby. If you do, you care about them for both of us. Like, do it for me. But Cassius Clay Faison is definitely wrapping up because Lulu's caught. Dante's spinning the block on her next week, and then she gonna have to say that Nathan's involved, which means that Dante gonna have to spin the block on Nathan, and then maybe he'll start asking some questions about his bestie and why he out here fucking his ex-wife and being sus like this. So that seems like it's wrapping up. Britt's probably gonna be the one to find Jocelyn in the Anna Duvain Memorial freaking dungeon in underneath Windermere. I can foresee that. Let her be more heroic, not just giving a stellar pap smear, but also saving people. That's actually better storytelling. Lucas is gonna get caught up somehow with a pimp called Sidwell. I don't know how, but I feel that's coming. But definitely this Willow story is wrapping up. This Willow story is wrapping up. Does Chase cheat on Brooklyn, or does something happen? Tracy from Sunday's Shift was saying how like, oh, I felt like Willow's gonna try something and Brooklyn's gonna see it and not see Chase like push her off, and it's gonna, but Willow gotta be that's gotta be wrapping up. Drew gotta be getting out this chair because Cameron Matheson essentially just getting a free check at this point. I mean, he blinking his ass off, but we gotta get him doing more than this. This is wild. And he's still staying all buff because Cameron ain't gonna miss an arm day or a chest day just because his character's supposed to be paraplegic. He don't give a fuck about that. And so he looked buff as hell in this chair. We got to get him a bigger wheelchair. But I think this is got to be wrapping itself up. So that's pretty much the episode. Thank you for listening. If you like this, feel free to like, subscribe to see when I post things about this show because it's so periodic and sporadic. But yeah, man, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.